Realistically, when you watch Gary Sanchez back there last night, I mean, he was just flat out missing baseballs. Even with nobody on base, I get it. That's great. Like, it doesn't really matter. But that just doesn't look good. It's not a good look. And when you're in the playoffs and you know that someone obviously doesn't have their focus there, something's not going right. And this has been a recurring theme. This is not a one-time thing. It's been year after year after year with Gary about his defense. Well, guess what? He's also not bringing any offense to the table. Yeah, he hits a home run every once in a while. You know what they said about me when I was a backup catcher and, you know, they never really gave me a shot to play every day? Well, you can catch and you can hit a homer every once in a while. You're just not good enough to start. Well, that's what it's looking like with Sanchez, but he's not even a good defensive catcher.
The Yankees as an organization, players on up, have always been quick to defend Gary Sanchez. Does this feel like a shift to you?
Well, as Anthony pointed out, they're framing this as a Higashioka thing and not a Sanchez thing, as they're supposed to. So it's not like they're totally off that rhetorical bandwagon. I'm pretty sure it's in every Yankee contract. You have to compliment Gary Sanchez 3 times a week because of the consistency with which we do see that over the years, even when they don't mean it. But look, it's a shift in some way in that their actions speak louder than their words, and they're playing a different guy in a night when Cole's not pitching. So that's pretty significant. And it tells you what they think about those two. Higashioka is no star. I mean, he's a solid player, nice backup catcher, maybe even a little bit more than that at his best. But for him to be playing over Gary Sanchez in a huge playoff game, it really tells you a lot about Gary Sanchez, who's obviously, in theory, an all-star type talent.
Dan, there's been a lot of moments where the Yankees could have reacted, a lot of plays, especially in the postseason, where the Yankees could have reacted and benched Gary Sanchez. They chose not to do it. A lot of seasons where they could have started with somebody else at catcher, a better defensive catcher. They chose not to do it. Why now? And do you think this should be the end of the Gary Sanchez era at catcher for the Yanks?
I think there's a distinct possibility, Doug, that could happen here once we get to the offseason. I mean, let's not forget, there's a guy who's going to be highly coveted playing in Philadelphia, who's arguably the best catcher in the sport, who's going to be a free agent. You know, the Yankees have some money to spend. Maybe they'll to go that route. But I think that Gary Sanchez is the type of guy that if Brian Cashman shops him around Major League Baseball, there's probably still some value there. There's probably some teams in and around the sport that think, you know what, let's bring this guy over to our club, get him out of New York, the pressure cooker. Maybe it'll relax him a little bit. He can go about doing his thing. But to even Anthony's point there, I mean, if you see the deficiencies, forget about behind the plate. But last night you saw even in that 9th inning, just looking completely overwhelmed at the plate with those fastballs. And, you know, it's really scary to think that, let's just say this even goes to a 5th game. And, of course, Garrett Cole's probably going to be the guy starting. Gary Sanchez isn't going to be catching, which the Yankees season is going to be on the line. And this guy's not going to be in the lineup. That's a pretty telltale sign right there.